to order. Start the pledge. The Jenny Barker Elementary School students will lead us. Are they in here? We can get them in here.
Come on, guys.
Come on.
All right, you start and we'll jump in.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Get your exercise in.
Take a moment for silent reflection. Okay. Meetings of note. Garden City High School Hall of Fame induction ceremony Friday, May 15th, 2026, being at 5:30 PM at Garden City High School. 4 or more board members may be in attendance. Garden City Achieved graduation Saturday, May 16th, 2026, 10:30 AM at Horace Good Middle School. 4 or more board members may be in attendance. Baccalaureate ceremony Saturday, May 16th, 2026, 2 PM in the Garden City High School auditorium. 4 or more board members may be in attendance. Garden City High School graduation Sunday, May 17th, 2026, 1 PM at Garden City High School. 4 or more board members may be in attendance. Staff appreciation dinner Thursday, May 21st, 2026, 5:30 PM at Garden City High School. 4 or more board members may be in attendance. It's a busy time. Okay, on the approval, well, item D, approval of agenda with the following amendments. D1, additional certified and classified personnel actions for consideration, item F3. D2, add item F4C, consent agenda, other. The Board of Education is asked to consider and approve out-of-state travel for members of the Garden City High School JROTC to attend Cadet Leadership Camp in Rapid City, South Dakota, May 26th, 2026 through May 30th, 2026. D3, revise item G6. The Board of Education is asked to consider and approve changing the date of the May 28, 2026 Board of Education meeting to May 26, 2026 at 6 PM. First read, action is requested tonight. D4, remove item E2, recognition of KNEA student expression campaign winner. D5, add item F4D, consent agenda, other. The Board of Education is asked to consider and approve an equipment purchase and installment agreement by and between the Board of Education, Unified School District number 457, Garden City, Feeney County, State of Kansas, and Next Generation Recreation, a Missouri Limited Liability Corporation.
I'll second. Or a
Did anybody
motion.
move it?
I need a motion.
Yeah. I move to approve the meeting agenda as amended.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the amended meeting agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your left hand. Opposed, right hand. Motion carries. We have public comments. So Becca Burnfin. Becca, you know the drill. You got 5 minutes.
How are you?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Good. I've talked to most of you, some new ones, but my name is Becca Burnfin. I'm rounding out my 18th year in education. I have served in many K-12 roles in our public schools here in Garden City, and I'm a parent of a 10, 8, and 5-year-old. One of those started his education journey here with behavioral complexities. So the thing I'm going to talk about tonight is really important to me because his teachers deserve support. I am commenting on the first read of the behavior policy addendum. Classrooms and students' needs have changed significantly since 2020. Systems and supports obviously have not come to pace, and collaborative intervention structures for teachers and staff alike are important. I also want to acknowledge the frustration that local educators have regarding the timeline of the work that has been placed. During the 2025 negotiation sitting, I sat right back there as I do on all negotiations nights. And I heard leadership state that incorporating the revisions to the discipline policy would be better if we added it to the 1 through 4 behavior charts than yearly negotiations. At the time, the district said they were quote unquote not opposed to the language we had introduced. However, providing members less than 24 hours this week to review and respond while also expecting meaningful, productive outcomes, from my perspective, does not reflect good faith process that allows for shared understanding, thoughtful input, consistent implementation policy, and directly impacts our classroom and the safety and instruction of our students and teachers. This follows multiple negotiation cycles in which concerns surrounding behavior policy and classroom safety have often been minimized or treated as secondary issues. This is not about splitting hair over wording. Clear policy language matters because it defines procedures, expectations, and accountability for everyone involved. I appreciate the work that my colleagues have done into revising this policy and shared goal of maintaining safety and supportive learning environments for their peers. However, I have concerns with portions of the proposed language tonight because of several items that are subjective and may unintentionally place disproportionate responsibility on certified staff members. Specifically, phrases like primary responsibility, reasonable efforts, significantly disrupts, are difficult to measure and consistently could lead to varied interpretations across buildings. As written, this creates implementation inconsistencies and lowers accountability in classroom educators and judgments about not equally supporting or having a clear system where administrative expectations are held to equal power. Teachers are expected every day to create and maintain safe learning environments for students. That's important. Policies should protect safety for our staff, not language that unintentionally places the weight of the system on a classroom teacher. I also want to acknowledge my role in the process as a union advocate. I have felt a disappointment to my peers that I did not advocate for delaying negotiations until this was done, as it has become clear that they were not intended to take our wording for granted. This is something I carry personally and professionally, and I deserve to stand up for it and be just as equally as accountable. In September, I was here for rush policy, and I believe it was important then, and I believe it's important now to name the systems are not functioning right. There should be a collaborative process. When negotiations are delayed or compromised due to short timelines or adequate time for reviewing and response, it becomes difficult for members to engage in meaningful and reflect the importance of the policies being brought and talked about. I think it's important we saw where this process began and that we're an integral part of fixing it. So I end you with leaving the draft copy that we handed over to district leadership last year for your decision-making process tonight and next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Becca. Is it Tracy?
Yeah.
Margaret?
My turn. So I filled out really quick.
Okay,
I've
sorry.
done this before. Just come up here. I'm Tracy Meinzer. I am a librarian at AP Elementary. How many years have I worked in the district? 12, 13, over 10, below 15, in that range somewhere. And I want to speak to the same thing that Ms. Burnfin just spoke to as well, which is the safe learning policy that I believe you're being presented with tonight. And I know SLAC looked at this policy, and I want to start by saying that I really appreciate
the fact that it's coming to you guys and that we are talking about this issue because it's really important. And I want to keep moving forward with the issue. At the same time, I do have some frustrations from my perspective. As Ms. Bertman mentioned, the language that we brought came at the table last year, and we were under the impression that that was going to be brought straight to the board. And instead, it's been brought to the SLAC committee, and I'm okay with that because that's part of what they're doing is looking at safety. But in that process, there's been some major changes to kind of the fundamental drive of what we were going for that impact the policy overall. Especially, we had some clear safeguards in our language for immediate options to protect teachers when they need to, when the environment has become unsafe and they need something to be done. And there was especially language that ensures that teachers and admin conference before a student is returned to the classroom. And we feel like those are really, really important changes. And I want to make sure that those pieces stay part of the focus as the discussion moves forward and don't get left behind. And I believe it's very important that the board reviews the original language that Ms. Burnfin just gave you alongside of the language from the SLAC committee before you make decisions about policy language.
Thanks, Tracy. Jennifer. That's it, okay. Item E1, recognition of the National Speech and Debate Association state finalists and national qualifiers. I think Russ Tidwell's going to do this. Well, Russ. Okay. Welcome.
Sir.
Hi, I'm Russ Tidwell. I'm the forensics coach at the high school. This is 32, year 32. I don't think we did this last year. I wanted to bring our national qualifiers to you for recognition and our students who made the elimination rounds at the state tournament. Four of these students will be competing at the National Speech and Debate Association National Tournament in June in Richmond, Virginia. And we're really proud of their work. We had a really young team this year, and so everything they've accomplished, they've really worked pretty hard for and made a lot of progress. I want to start with state elimination students, kids who made it to elimination rounds at state. Steve Medillo, or Daniel Medillo, was in semifinals of International Extem, and he is a junior. And our freshman representative tonight, Bobia, okay, can I try? Bobia Calaraquel is a semifinalist in pros at state tournament. Representing us at the national tournament will also be Steve in International Extem, and Kaylee Uribe, Angel Robledo Solorzano, that will be competing in public forum debate. And Issa Sadler will be competing in program of oral inter. So this is our team for the extreme postseason, I guess. So thank you. I want to say thanks to the board, thanks to administration. Costs for these tournaments are not getting cheaper. And it's a long way to Richmond. And so I've been really supported and encouraged over my career by a board that continues to allow us to have access to some funding for those trips. I don't very often have to fundraise, and when I have to fundraise, I don't have to fundraise an awful lot. And so I really appreciate that in a time where I'm watching colleagues make the choice not to even be able to go to the national tournament. So thank you for that, and I give you the kids. So.
Well, before we do this, it's great that we're recognizing these students and their accomplishments. They're all tremendous. They're worthy of praise. But I think we also at this time need to recognize the fact that their coach, Mr. Russ Tidwell, at the same national tournament is being inducted into the National Speech and Debate Association Hall of Fame for his 32 years of service to the profession,
and for his coaching. So congratulations, Mr. Kidd.
You want kids in a good band. That's what you need. Kids in a good band.
Congratulations to you all.
You want to meet them?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Good job.
Congratulations.
You're done?
Oh, pictures in this front.
Kids.
Sure.
You missed the picture, Paul.
Well, Mr. Tidwell, you gotta be in the picture too.
Every other day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, there's some okay.
Yes.
You're short, you're as short as kids, so you can be.
You like that.
Okay.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Good job, guys.
We got it. Thank you. Yeah, you come a long ways. 7 years, well, yeah, you're right. Few months.
Well, that's awesome. His students achieved that. Congratulations to you all. E2, building presentation, Jenny Barker Elementary School, Justin Wright, principal. Welcome, Justin.
Thanks. See you all. All right, good evening. I'm Justin Wright, Principal of Jenny Barker. I brought a lot of special guests with me here tonight to discuss our school and let you guys know how we're doing this year and share a lot of things that they thought were important about our school. So without further ado, this is the Jenny Barker Lighthouse team.
Good evening, everyone. We are the Jenny Barker Elementary Bobcats. We are so excited to be here tonight to share our 2025 through 2026 presentation with the Board of Education. At Jenny Barker, we have a clear vision. Our school aims to be Kansas's exemplary school. We do this by making sure everyone feels like they belong, staying consistent in our work, and challenging every single student to reach their full potential in both growth and achievement.
We have big goals called WIGs. Our first goal is for our younger students in kindergarten through second grade.
That's right. Our goal is for 80% of us to meet our phonics and fluency benchmarks on FastBridge. We are working hard on this through high quality ELA instruction every day.
For those of us in 3rd through 6th grade, our second wing is to focus on our KAP assessments. We want to increase the number of students achieving level 3 and 4 in ELA, math, science by 10%. We don't want to get there because our teachers are bringing rigorous grade level content to our classrooms and holding all of us to very high expectations.
To reach these goals, we follow the ROAR principle.
R stands for respect everyone. O stands for offer help. A means act safely.
And R means rise to challenges.
At Jenny Barker, when we are showing leadership skills by practicing ROAR, we earn shoutouts. Shoutouts are positive acknowledgement for us when we do a good job. When we need to bring them home to our parents so they know that we are doing a great job at school.
We also love to celebrate success at Jenny Barker. This year's shout out yearly total has already reached 5,165.
When we get a shout out, it goes into a drawing every month for a cool prize like board games, toys, Legos, and 2 students even won electric scooters so far this year. Every month, each class nominates a roaring leader.
These students get their picture posted or in our trophy case all month long. They all get a special reward for that month.
We have a very good robotics team at Jenny Barker this year. Our team won state and then went and competed at the Vex IQ World Championship in St. Louis.
We work really hard in the classroom at Jenny Barker, but we also get to do a lot of fun and exciting things. This year, we held a trunk or treat where parents and community members came and handed out candy.
We have leader media assemblies. Every month where we celebrate all of the success we had at Jenny Barker. We invited local businesses, high school FFA, and community members to come teach us at our Ag Day.
We also got to invite family members to join us in our Family Fitness Day, where we got to compete against them in dodgeball. We finished off the year with school-wide carnival, where hundreds of people came and played games, ate, and participated in a raffle to raise money for our school. Thank you for letting us share what makes our school special. We are proud to be Bobcats. Any questions?
Yes, questions? What do you guys like best about Jenny Barker? Anybody?
Our teachers.
I like the PE and the learning.
Good.
Our teachers are just very good at making sure their students get taught like the right way and they're good at making sure they get the help that they need.
Excellent job with your presentation, guys. Thank
Good
you.
job.
Abby.
Good
job.
Over here.
So they can go behind.
Step forward, step forward, step forward. There you go. There you go.
There you go.
Act like you guys like this. Okay. Ready?
You're good.
Which line put you on the other side? Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.
Good job, guys.
You can do one.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item F, consent agenda.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as amended. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your left hand. Opposed, right hand. Motion carried. Move on to item G, new business, G1. The Board of Education is asked to consider and approve the following curriculum council items. This is a first read. Dr. Virginia Duncan, Director of Secondary Instruction. Welcome.
Hello. Okay, this evening.
How are you doing?
Okay, I have a few new items on here that have been to the curriculum council and are up for request to, one of them is to delete a course, which I know we don't often bring something to you to delete a course, but we have a STEM course that is at the intermediate centers that is a duplicate of the science curriculum. And so they felt like that was not serving the needs of the students and wanted to kind of delete that. But in place of that, they would like to add a course so that the students still have an elective. And it's the course that they're proposing that is called a Leader Lab. And what they would like to do with this course is add in more of that leadership, college and career readiness, and taking a look at some career explorations, looking at some organizational skills, study skills that will help support them as they move into their courses in the future. And then in addition to that, our new requests at the high school, we just have a couple of new requests for that. So CTE, a Garden City College elective for advanced programming, as well as another one for mobile robotics and vision systems that will support their certifications. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And item G2, the Board of Education has to consider and approve the updated discipline policy. First read, Gina Galpin, Director of Special Education. Hello, Gina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I am the Director of Special Education, but I also co-lead the Safe Learning Advisory Council with a teacher from Garfield, Brecken Shrimplin. She's not here tonight. This committee is made up of 5 teachers from all levels. We have an early childhood teacher, elementary, secondary, and then special education, elementary, and special education, secondary. And then we have 3 principals and myself. Josh Guyman gave us this draft, or a draft that was provided to him during negotiations last year. He gave the Safe Learning Advisory Council the draft this spring for us to consider and make recommendations to. And so we met and went through the draft and made some changes to it to propose back to the district leadership team. We're not a decision-making team. We make recommendations. And so we went through, we've been working closely with TASN this year to get training. TASN is technical assistance funded by KSDE, and they've been working with us on behavior and social emotional learning to make sure that we have the proper supports in place to help our students be successful. And the focus is always on making sure that Tier 1 classrooms are strong in supporting students and their behavior and social emotional well-being. And so we took that training into account as we went through this. It is very difficult to create a policy that applies to everybody across the district because every teacher, every classroom, every student, and all behaviors vary so drastically. And so we felt like it was a challenging task. And we knew that we would also be working on the discipline policy going into next year. And so we will have more revisions and recommendations for our discipline policy. So if there are things in here that we need to address further, we knew that we could do that in the upcoming school year. And by the end of next year, we hope to have a revised discipline policy that includes all the things that we've been learning with TASN through our training this year. And so I believe you have read through this yourself. Is there anything that you want me to clarify or any questions you have for me? We wanted teachers to understand they did have support. There is a time when students need to be removed from the classroom in order to maintain a safe and productive learning environment. And so we did agree that there needed to be some parameters. So.
Questions for?
So I'm comparing the draft that that we were given with what is here in this presentation. So I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing this draft because I was not part of this process last year. So it looks like the return to class consultation has been in this policy here changed to incident debrief. So what was kind of the reasoning in this decision making behind the changes that were made to the original draft And then what,
Specifically to number 3?
yeah,
The conversation was that the original draft said that a consultation had to take place before the child could return to class. And we do want there to be conversations. We struggled with the word consultation. In some cases, because these are level 4 and 5 behaviors, in most, if not all cases, level 4 and 5 are a safety issue, and there will be more extreme consequences for those types of behaviors. And so in cases where it's a disruption or significant disruption to class, there were a lot of scenarios. Sometimes a student is disruptive in 4th hour, and then the principal holds them and they can go back to 5th hour because it's a new teacher and they can have a fresh start. But that's not true in the elementary level. So there were a lot of, in order to make it fit all situations, we thought it would be difficult in some cases for a consultation to happen between the principal and teacher before the student could return to class. But we did understand that it's very important for teachers and principals to debrief about the incident and make sure that there are interventions and supports in place to make sure that student, when he or she does return to class, there are interventions ready and a plan in place to make sure that it is successful.
so the main issue was with the before return to class part, or?
Yes, and I think the word consultation, they liked the idea of more of a conversation or the principal debrief. I know principals, once a discipline referral is sent to the office, the principal ultimately has the decision on what that consequence is going to be. They're the disciplinary officer that ties an action summary to every discipline offense. And so the team and the majority of the council is made up of teachers, everyone that just a debrief or a conversation was important and a plan on how to move forward to support students who have these types of behaviors so that they can be successful in the future.
Can you give us maybe just a brief scenario of what this would look like I'm assuming elementary is where you're having more of these problems where the kids are going to go back to the same classroom. Like what a level 4 or 5 violation looks like and what that looks like currently and what it would look like after this policy was put in place.
A lot of times if it's a level 4 or 5, they won't be returning to class because level 4 and 5 are safety issues. So more of the disruptive behavior would be what would be sent back because those aren't safety issues. They're disruptions to the learning of others. So they would be sent to the office. It says school staff will ensure the student is safely escorted to the office, and that can be any school staff. It's up to the building to determine. Most buildings, if not all, have a call button, so teachers can call the office and somebody can come and assist. The teacher doesn't have to leave the classroom to escort the student. So they go to the office and they meet with the principal or the designee, whoever's handling the discipline, and that person determines when the child is de-escalated and ready to return to class. And it's individualized based on each student and when they are ready to do so. So it would look different for everybody. But if this is something that's occurring often, then there would definitely be a plan going down to number 4, ongoing support for recurring disruptions where the team comes together and develops a plan, whether they go to the student assistance team, the SAT team, or if they're in special education, back to the IEP team to revise a behavior intervention plan or put a behavior intervention plan in place which would outline the proactive measures to help the student be successful and what interventions are in place to support that student.
So maybe the kiddo is chit-chatting and won't be quiet or refuses to stay in their seat, something like that.
And those aren't level 4 and 5 behaviors. So we would hope that that could be handled in the classroom with some of those behavior supports that are in place. If the disruption continues and it is something that is impacting the learning, they could be asked to remove them to the office. And then it would be on a case-by-case basis on when that child could return.
So currently, when the principal decides they're ready, the principal or the secretary or a nurse or somebody just walks them back to class and tells the teacher, hey, they seem to be calm now, let's try this again. That's what we currently do. And that would be similar under your policy, but under this one, they would want that discussion with the principal before the child was brought back.
Yes, this one does not say it has to happen before the child returns to class, but there will be a
that-
debrief.
Just so I'm like understanding, because it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
So this piece is no matter what level of violation it is, if the child's removed from the classroom, whichever one we choose or somewhere in the middle, that's what happens every single time.
That's what this is saying, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, just to make sure I'm understanding properly. And tonight's just a first read, right?
Right.
Don't need to take any action on this tonight.
No.
It'll go to consent agenda. And if y'all have questions before then, just holler at me.
Thank you, Gina.
Thank you.
Item G3, the Board of Education is asked to consider and approve the disposal of curriculum resources no longer in use in the district. First read, action is requested. Steve Norby, Assistant Superintendent.
Yes, in January, this board approved the adoption of new English language arts curriculum throughout the district. And that curriculum is arriving. And we're getting it into teachers' hands. We're doing professional development. We're making plans for the summer, making plans for next year. However, we still have the old materials. And those are assets that have been purchased by the district. Some of them do have some value to them. And so it's our usual process that we come and ask you for permission to dispose of the old assets so that we can get rid of the old language arts curriculum and have the new come in. We've developed a plan with Plant Facilities and with some cooperation from the city of Garden City, where materials that can't be resold to a book buyer or some other company will be recycled. And so we'll take care of that in an environmentally friendly way through the recycle bins with the city of Garden City. They'll deliver them to schools. The other materials that have some life left to them and can potentially be resold, we will invite companies to come in and look those over and to negotiate a market value for some of those things. But in order to go through and dispose of those materials, we need your approval to get rid of those old assets. That's what I'm asking for tonight.
Questions?
Yeah, I mean, do companies come and buy many of those books back? Like what percent of those books are bought?
Not a ton of them, but some of them that are still in boxes, brand new, potentially, that do have some value. We want to see if we can't get fair market value for some of those. Yeah.
Mr. President, I move to approve the disposal of curriculum resources no longer in use in the district as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to dispose of curriculum and resources no longer in use in the district as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your left hand. Those opposed, right hand. Motion carries. Thank you, Steve. G4, the Board of Education is asked to consider and approve the renewal of the district's KASB membership, including season pass and legal assistance fund contract for the year 2026 through 27 in the amount of $18,770.63. First read, Drew Tone.
Yeah, so up here tonight to talk to you guys about KSB. This is obviously your guys' association that we are also a part of. The Kansas Association for School Boards We use a number of things from the Kansas Association of School Boards. One thing I will note, we don't always agree with their policy or their practices. But the nice thing about the Kansas Association of School Boards is we get to pick and choose what we take and what we don't take. As an example, they may come out with a policy recommendation. We always have our legal counsel also read over that policy. And then you guys ultimately approve or don't approve the policy. So things that they do, one of the big things that I utilize them for is employment law. We attend their employment law conference. We also have a direct line to Lori, the KSB lawyer. We use them for things like negotiations training. Robin, I think you were a part of that. We also use them to review some of our stuff. As an example, our negotiation letter that we sent out, we obviously send that to them prior to publishing our negotiation letter. We have them review with us the union's negotiation letter as an example of things that they do. SPED law, we use them quite a bit for special education law. Special education law is pretty nuanced, and the details within special education law are pretty nuanced, so we do use them for that. Policies, there's getting to be more and more legislation through the House and the Senate and ultimately approved by the governor that deals specifically with public schools. A lot of that stuff used to come from the board, Kansas Board of Education. More and more of that is coming out of the House and the Senate. When that happens, oftentimes that legislation isn't very clearly defined. And so we use KSB to help us navigate those new laws and those new bills as they're being developed and then as they come out. A perfect example is the cell phone bill. There's a lot of misunderstanding on what the cell phone bill does say and what it doesn't say. So KSB is going to be very important for us in navigating that cell phone bill policy and how we write that policy. That will come to you guys late June or early July. KSB toolkits, myself in my office, I know Steve, I know Jennifer a ton and Josh, they have toolkits that we're able to get online and look at and use and utilize that have a lot of pre-structured stuff that we can kind of copy and edit to make fit for Garden City Public Schools. KASB is also over the top of KBS, which is where we get our insurance ultimately from. It's called KICS. KICS, we moved away from EMC last year and moved over to KICS. KICS is actually a piece of KSB housed underneath KBS. Other things that we use, their media relations and a lot of their communication stuff. Our people attend, as an example, LIFT, Leadership for Tomorrow. We have future people that want to become principals that will attend that. We have people that want to become principals that will attend Western Kansas Leadership Academy through KSB. Thrive in my office, that's the HR component of KSB. When we took over, well, I shouldn't say when Leanne and myself moved into that office, there wasn't a ton of HR background. And so we both attended Thrive. Bold, Josh is in Bold, right? Or Josh has gone through Bold. Steve has gone through Bold. I'm currently going through Bold. In order to become, you don't have to do it to become an assistant superintendent, deputy superintendent, or superintendent, but it's suggested that you go through Bold. There's actually starting to be more and more Board of Education members that are going through that program so that they have a better understanding of what is going on in the state of Kansas as far as education. So if any of you guys are interested in going through Bold, I would highly suggest it. Clerk training and all the things to do with being a clerk of the board. It's a complicated business and making sure that we have the minutes right and we have the agendas right and motions right. That all comes, Jennifer working hand in hand with KSB. So like I said, KSB, while we don't necessarily agree with all their politics on everything, We're a little more nuanced out here in western Kansas. We understand that. They also I would say that they're starting to understand that now. And you're starting to see a bit of a migration of where they are with things like cell phone. On cell phones, they are very strong about local control. And so when they have policies or bills come in front of them, the majority of the time, they're going to kick it back to, we believe districts should decide for themselves what they want to do with their policies. Now, once a bill is passed, they're going to help us navigate what our policy should look like in order to stay legally compliant. But the big mantra we've heard the last couple of years is based around local control. So that's KSB. I didn't realize until I got to my seat how much we use KSB. We use it a ton. Like I said, they don't always have, sometimes people will talk down on KSB because of some political leanings on one thing or another, but we obviously have our ability to accept policy or not accept policy and navigate those things in that realm. And I'm sure there will be questions. Mark.
I would also say that they have a lot of training for you as board members too. I know a couple, I think Becca, you and Katie both went through Foundations of Sportsmanship, which I think is really good. And if members haven't gone through that, I would encourage you to sign up for it next year. But there's a lot of really good training. So I think for board members, for you all to learn and
strategic planning. They help us with our strategic, which will be up.
Yeah, well,
in your guys' cycle.
Bringing that probably in July. Ask them to walk us through updating our strategic plan for the next 5 years.
No, I get asked this question, why you guys remember KSB and what we talked about the other day was what are all the benefits? How do we use them? And you did a very good job here. So thank you for.
Well, and I do want to mention one thing. So I served on the executive board at Acacia for a long time. And then I actually served as the president of Acacia. The one thing I would say about KSB is a group that is your peers. And the only way that we can make change in KSB is for us to get on the board of KSB and make change through KSB. Ultimately, it's your guys' board. You guys are decision makers as a part of that association. And if we want to make change with KSB, that's how we make change with KSB, because ultimately it's not people at the top. It's no different than this board of education. They have a board, and that board is what sets policy and what sets the guiding light for that organization.
I think you hit on the point there. One of the criticisms I've heard is political leaning that they may have at the Capitol, and that's, we don't have to be a part of that. There's something else I was going to say.
You're going to run for the board, for the KSB board. That's what I heard you say.
There is one school district in Kansas that is not a member. Is that correct?
There is one. Is it Weston?
I don't know.
Weston used to be.
Last I heard, there was only one in the entire state that was not a member.
Yeah.
So I thought it was Weston Public Schools in northwest Kansas.
Well, it sounds like we use them a lot.
We do.
For different reasons.
Yeah, that was gonna be my first question, if every school board was part of it. To that $18,000, is that based on like district size, or is it every district to pay that amount? Is it?
No, it's
schools pay?
it's a per student. Yeah, you pay per student. And that's how most of our stuff in education is, whether it's buying software or being members of organizations. You basically pay per pupil to be a part of those things. This is a first read. If you have questions, like Josh said before, please feel free to reach out, and we can get you all those answers. And it'll be on consent on the next one, unless you guys tell me otherwise. And if not, I'll be back up here next time. Josh, you had something?
One thing I would say is, so next month, we will get, well, sometime between now and mid-June, we'll get all the updated policies. So KSB usually has 2 big rounds where they send policy updates to us. Usually they come for us to approve in July, and then another round will come in December. Those are the 2 big batches. And so Drew will have all of the policies that'll come here in the next few weeks that we'll get them, we'll send them to Jennifer. She'll look over everything and then he'll have them to the board for you guys to take action on in July. We usually do that in July. There's a whole lot of things you new members will see. There's a whole lot of other things that we'll do in July, but July is a big business setting meeting for the entire year. So
Another example Josh just brought up of how we used them 2 years ago. I'm losing track. I'm getting old. I think a year and a half or 2 years ago, Josh and I sat down with Leanne and we went through every single one of our policies. And we used KSB's policies. We used Salina Public Schools policies and Manhattan's policy. So we went through a whole bunch of different district policies and updated ours because ours, we had some that hadn't been looked at since 89, 93. So just to make sure that we're up to date as much as possible with our
so that
policies.
500 whatever page policy document, Drew and I have read every single one of those policies. So it was fun.
Yeah. Good ones, Josh.
Okay. G5, Board of Education is asked to consider and approve the updated policy JBCDA and district transfers. This is the first read, but action is requested.
Yeah, so this is a pretty straightforward policy. It's on unpaid fees. So Jessica, well, I shouldn't say Jessica, in 2021, you guys cleared off, the Board of Education cleared off over $500,000 in unpaid fees. We are back up over $500,000 in unpaid fees. And Jessica's been trying to find ways of how can we collect these fees and make sure that we're staying on top of fees. A lot of this is iPad related, JRTC related. If a kid doesn't bring a uniform back or a kid breaks an iPad and doesn't pay to fix the iPad, those sorts of things. So we're back over $500,000 in unpaid fees. One thing we've been doing and we just need to update policy is amend the policy on in-district transfers to say in good standing, you have to be in good standing to be able to transfer inside the district. And one of those things being all fees paid in order to be able to transfer. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have questions, so that's kind of the short explanation of it. You guys get this? You guys are looking at it. I make copies and it's just that one line.
The one line.
The one red line on what in good standing means. They're on toward the back of it. The student must have no outstanding school fees.
I mean, how many students do we have transfer?
So I'm
How
at
many students?
377 in district transfers as of right now that we're processing. And it will be over 500 by the time the end of summer hits. So there's other things that we can do as a district. We can not allow them to attend things like the pumpkin patch or non-academic related things, activities, sports, those sorts of things. This is just one of those things that is a benefit of being inside the district. There's a lot of districts that don't allow in-district transfers like this. You guys have allowed it for the last number of years.
I think it's smart to be able to do. I think it's an option for students, parents to be able to do that. There's one thing that, as I read through this, I went through a situation this year, dealt with a family that we came up against this policy, not for this purpose of transferring for fees or whatnot. And so there's some verbiage I'd like to add to this policy, if we could. I don't know, I think this is the place to do it. Because of the issue that I came across was where it says under no circumstances will transfer be considered after September 20th of each school year. And a little bit of the background, I had a family moved in from a rough family situation. And in that place, they were not allowed to go to a place where they had a few friends, in which way they were comfortable. The parents or the grandparents were willing to transport the students, so it wasn't an issue as far as that went, but it really created some tension in the family and caused some other issues in the family when they came in, because of this one line here. And so, I've worked with leadership on coming up with some additional language that would allow in a situation like that for an opportunity to bring some peace in a home, in a family, in a time of transition to be added to that. And so I'll read that to you here, as it goes along with that there. It says transfer requests will not be considered after September 20th of each school year, except for students who newly enroll in the district and reside outside their assigned attendance boundary. These students must submit a transfer request at the time of enrollment for consideration by the superintendent or designee. Requests submitted after completion of the enrollment process will not be considered. And so that clearly states they have the opportunity when they enroll to be able to request a transfer, but not anything beyond that. So I think it'll keep the intent. I know we've talked about why this is in place. Keep people from transferring if they get mad about something in the middle of the school year and situations and whatnot. I think just this is a great addition to the policy to help us to be able to serve all the students from many different situations. So that would be my recommendation or request that we add that into the policy while we're amending this policy.
And the administration's in favor of that. We oftentimes get students that transfer in from other districts, and they may reside outside of a given boundary and never get that opportunity to transfer like other out-of-district students have the chance to transfer, or in-district students have the chance to transfer. So it's a fair compromise. We obviously don't want students transferring multiple times like I was gonna call you Reverend Heck, like Mr. Heck has said, but it does give that student and that family the ability to, if there's space, that initial time, pick their school that they want to go to, like any other student could. Does that make sense?
One of the big reasons that we put the shut off on September 11th is just because we were getting so many before, when I was doing the transfers before Drew took over, and it would happen all year long. And so there was one family that I got a transfer request and we moved them in like October, and then they got upset with that school and I had another transfer request. And it's, I'm trying to talk to the family, and we need to try to work the problems out, and I mean, we were moving kids all the way through April, and that's just not good for kids if they've been in one school for the entire school year and we're going to move them for the last 5 or 6 weeks of school. That's not good for anybody. And so I think this really is what's best for kids, and this also gives our families that are new to the community an opportunity if there's reasons like Pastor said that that if there's an opportunity to transfer and we have room for them, we want to make that opportunity available for them if we can.
Nathan, could you read the proposed language again?
The addition would be transfer request will not be considered after September 20th of each school year, except for students who newly enroll in the district and reside outside their assigned attendance boundary. These students must submit a transfer request at the time of enrollment for consideration by the superintendent or designee. Requests submitted after completion of the enrollment process will not be considered. So it gives them that moment.
And administration is good.
Yeah, we're good with it.
Any other questions, comments?
So this will come back on consent agenda, like KSB. If you have any questions, concerns, be sure to reach out to us. What's that?
Action requested.
Oh, action is requested, Josh. Yeah, cancel that. Action is requested.
Yeah, so I'll make, if you guys.
Yeah, I would like the motion.
Okay, I'll make the motion with the, as it was presented to us with the transfers there, or the wording there, as well as the addition of my wording there. Do I need to read that all?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, with the addition of the language that says transfer request will not be considered after September 20th of each school year, except for students who newly enroll in the district and reside outside their assigned attendance boundary. These students must submit a transfer request at the time of enrollment for consideration by the superintendent or designee. Requests submitted after completion of the enrollment process will not be considered.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Got it, Jennifer? Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your left hand. Opposed, right hand. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, the G6, the Board of Education is asked to consider and approve changing the date of the May 28, 2026 Board of Education meeting to May 26, 2026 at 6 p.m. First read, action requested. Drew Jones.
Yeah, so Beck, May 28th, on May 28th, Steve, Josh, and myself will be at the annual Kansas USA Conference. Our hope and desire is to move that board meeting to from the 28th to the 26th at 6 p.m. would be our desire. You guys will approve our calendar for board meetings next year. Last year when we approved this, we didn't have any idea when the USA Conference was going to be. So this year, when we do this, we'll make sure that we get that board meeting corrected on next year's calendar.
So we can either keep it the regular day and have a party.
Yes.
Instead of a meeting.
Yeah.
Or the meeting.
Yeah, you don't need us here. So our request would be 6 o'clock. I know that's a little bit different for that Thursday meeting. We normally do 5 o'clock. One of our longtime great employees, Tracy Johnson, is retiring at the end of the year. We're having her going away party just before that on the 26th. So we want to make sure we can attend that.
Mr. Vice President, I would move that we move the meeting to
So
May 26th at 6 o'clock.
we have to make a specific motion for this, is my understanding.
Oh, we do.
We have to move, you have to
Do we have language in here?
make the motion to amend the
Mr. Vice President, I move to amend the board meeting schedule. I move the May 28th, 2026 Board of Education meeting to May 28th, 2026 Board of Education to May 26th, 2026 at 6 p.m.
For a second.
Second.
To move second to move the meeting, I'm not gonna read the whole thing again, to move the meeting from the 28th to 26th. Favor? Raise your left hand.
We might still have a party without you.
Yeah.
Opposed, right hand, motion carries. Okay, boundaries, G7, boundary study recommendation, first read, Drew Jones.
Yeah, so last Friday, our committee got together and looked at the two boundary proposals. We sent out that RFP, that request for proposals, for the boundary study for when we do reconfiguration in the fall of 28. From that, we were able to get two proposals back. One was from RSP, the other was from MGT. When you look through that, you guys should have those in your board packets. As you look through that, they are very similar. They're very similar in scope. The big thing that you'll notice is there is a significant price difference between the two. MGT came back at $115,600. RSP came back at $85,860. They're doing essentially the same work. RSP has worked with us for a number of boundary studies. The last boundary study, they worked with us, but the one prior to that, they also worked with us. MGT is a company out of California that we have not worked with, but they do come very highly recommended. They oftentimes work with much larger districts than what we are, but they have worked with Wichita Public Schools and a few other Kansas schools. I'm open to answering questions. It's going to be our recommendation that we go back with RSP and select RSP services for the boundary study. But I am open, and that was the recommendation of the committee, but I am open to questions before I ask for that.
I do, because I sat there Friday morning and I know you said you were going to talk to
Yep.
RSP about reducing the number of community hearings and things like that, since we're simplifying what we're asking them to do. were they receptive to that? Or I know, I saw here that you're gonna renegotiate the deal.
Yeah, so they are receptive to that idea. We had a long conversation and they kind of explained their processes to me. What we got down to was 5 meetings is what they would like to do. And the reason being, 2 of them being in person and then 3 of them being virtual. They would like 5 because they want to be in person at the beginning of it. They would like to be in person at the end of it. And then they can do the other 3 virtually, but they really want to be present for the community conversation. And that should have a substantial reduction in cost. As you look over both of them, the big bulk of the cost is obviously those in-person meetings, just because of the cost of getting to Western Kansas. I also talked to them, Becca, you wanted me to talk to them about how much data they could use of ours moving forward. They can use some of it. They want to take a fresh look at things and make sure that the data they're using is the best data that we can possibly be using. So while they're going to use some of it, a big bulk of the stuff they want to see, okay, of the things that were supposed to happen, what has happened, of the changes that we expected to see in our enrollment data, what has actually happened, what grades has that happened in, their birth to pre-K numbers. They want to see how close were we on birth to pre-K and K, so that they can we can get a boundary that will fit us for.
Actual contract.
Yeah, we'll come back with an actual contract later on. So all we're asking is to move forward with me rendering RSP services to negotiate a contract. Any other questions? So it's our recommendation that the Board of Education approve RSP and Associates as the district selected consulting firm for the boundary study process and authorize administration to move forward with contract negotiations for future board approval.
But I guess I would want to say for anybody who does like tune into the board meeting and is wondering, okay, RSP is coming back, what is the board doing? Would like to say publicly that we did put in the scope of what they're going to do, that this is just boundary reconfigurations based on the grade reconfiguration, not based on, conversations or decisions that we were looking at 3 years ago. So, since the previous board approved their grade reconfiguration, this is kind of a necessary step.
Yes, correct. And just kind of like you said, to remind everybody what the new grade reconfiguration is going to look like. Our 4 one-track schools, Jenny Barker, Plymouth, Gertrude Walker, Georgia Matthews, those will be one-track schools in our new reconfiguration that goes K-5. And then everybody else will be 2-track schools, including Charles Stones and Bernadine Saints. So again, no school, that will not be in the scope. It will not be discussed. None of that stuff is happening in this grade reconfiguration boundary study like it was last time.
And that's something that Roy and I have been talking about. Once we get this ball in motion, we're gonna put a lot out publicly to make sure that the community knows that as well, because I do think that's gonna be an important piece.
That would be helpful, I think.
Alleviate any concerns before they happen, yeah.
The scope is narrowed considerably from what it was back then. Asking right now.
Yeah, it is a pretty narrow scope. So we know that they're, generally when they do a reconfiguration, they're going through and they're deciding, hey, this school's 3 tracks, this school's 4 tracks, this school's 1 track, this school's 2 track. For us, we've decided, you guys have already decided all that. You guys have said, we've got 4 one-track schools, everybody else is 2-track, go draw lines, essentially is what we're doing. So it's just a matter of deciding, where the lines go.
And making sure that they're lines that we're gonna be able to use for the foreseeable future, Realistically, if you can get 10 years out of a boundary, that's a pretty good run.
Yeah, and more often you're seeing districts at year 5 or year 6 redoing boundaries because communities are shifting so much because of community dynamics, because of population and age and where young families live and where old families live, and you're not seeing the migration of old families to, they don't size down as much as they used to size down. And because of that, older families are taking up certain areas that used to be predominantly younger families. So you're just seeing boundaries have to be redrawn more often because of those things. Okay. I'll bring back a contract. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item H, board open discussion. Well, it's always good to hear from the students at our schools. Jay Barker tonight was great to hear from them and bring the Lighthouse team here. The recognition of Russ and the students there, that's some great stuff happening in Garden City. Should make us proud. It does make us proud. Jacob's not here. Randy's not here. Rebecca.
I would say, first of all, I won't be here for graduations this weekend, but congrats to all the students and the teachers who are graduating these students out this weekend. That's always exciting. I know I saw a few graduation parties last week, and I'm sure it's hard for parents to send those students on too. So big deal. Congrats to all the national, forensics and debate students. That's exciting. I did it once in high school, was not good at it. So kudos to them. And I would say, yeah, good to hear from you guys, teachers who came to talk about discipline policy. I do think there's some merit to having, discretion written into the policy instead of, requirements, but happy to hear what you guys have to say. I do think it's good to have discretion in some leeway in those policies.
Thank you, Nathan.
It has been exciting to be involved in a lot of events with 2 kids in high school this year, and a lot of things going on, hearing things. And so we've been to several choir concerts and band concerts, and to see a lot of the spring sports that are doing well, seeing some of those reports and seeing some of that. Very encouraging, and the theater performances are all doing very well. So congratulations to all those kids and the teachers who put in the time for all of those different activities over the course of the year as they kind of come to the end of the year. Do appreciate the recognitions of our qualifiers and the teachers that are part of the debate. I did it once as well in high school and did not do so well. So the Jenny Barker is always fun. It was also been fun to sit on the councils this year with teachers and staff. The curriculum council sat in several of those, and the hard work that goes on behind the scenes. I appreciate all the teachers and the staff that are doing that. Also, ESL committee, last meeting we had, I was just continually shocked at how many languages we continue to get here in our school district. We now have 41 different languages spoken in our school district, and so it's exciting to see that, but the challenges that come with that. And so pretty excited about how we're here and just getting good things going on for all the students. And very much appreciate our teachers. Last week was Teacher Appreciation Week, and so appreciate all the staff and all the teachers behind the scenes and all the things that they've done for the school year and finishing strong. I know a lot of teachers are counting down the hours and the minutes, not just the days, but appreciate all of them and their hard work this year. And I just ask them continue to finish strong and do the right things, which they always do. Letting everyone know, baccalaureate will also be a part of graduation weekend. I want to say that publicly. And so that is this Saturday at 2. I know chief graduation is at 10. The baccalaureate's at 2 o'clock at the high school in the auditorium there. Everyone is welcome to attend in the community. Many different churches involved in that this year. So that's a time to honor our graduates in that sense. And then looking forward to the boundary study and the positive steps that will come from that, moving us forward and getting things refined and getting us to continue to do things smartly as a district. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you.
I'm not going to be here for graduation either, and I'm super disappointed. One of the most rewarding things was when you're handing out those diplomas and just the glow in those kiddos' face that they accomplished something and they're ready to take that next step. So I'm sorry that I'm not gonna be here for that. Every meeting, I'm always reminded of how much we actually have to be proud of as a district. And I like the fact that we get to see so many positive things, and we need to do better at tooting our own horn so everybody in Garden City knows the quality that we actually have in our district. Yeah.
Thank you. Katie?
All right, so I'm gonna start off with a little bit of personal pride because Jenny Barker is where my kids attended, so it's great to see all of these kids that I know. My son was actually one of the ones on the robotics team that got to go to Worlds, so I was super proud that we got a little shout out there. Thank you, Ms. Palmer. She's not here right now, but Ms. Palmer is the robotics coach there, and she's just done an amazing job. She's been our robotics coach for years. She's brought so many teams to Worlds. It's really fantastic that we have this program in the school district and that we continue to support it because it's the most amazing opportunity for these kids. I also, when it comes to the safety policy, teachers, I hear your concerns. I definitely intend to ask a lot more questions, follow up, hopefully like with Slack and with the teachers, and kind of figure out what can we do to make sure that that discretion is there and the ability is there to be flexible in certain situations, but also to make sure that the safety of our teachers is considered. I will be at graduations this weekend. I'm very excited. I'm especially excited to get to see a bunch of kids that I got to have as middle schoolers now going on to graduate, which is crazy. But always a fun time to get to see former students and see where they go in life. So thanks for letting me do that and for the invitation.
Thank you, Katie. John?
Yeah, this is an exciting time of the year. This is where we get to see all of our work come to an end as the kids walk across the stage and get their diploma. There's a lot of work that goes into making that happen for our kiddos. And so it's a great opportunity for you as board members to get to celebrate with the kiddos as you get to, because you all are the ones that get to actually hand them their diplomas. So that's an exciting time. And as we come to the close of the year, and summer happens, that's when we've already started actually, but we'll really start digging into planning for next year. And so the week that we come back after Memorial Day weekend, we're gonna start out with ELA camps at Horace Good. And so as we get our new ELA curriculum and starting to put some of those things together, Heather's organized a lot of staff to come in and begin digging into that and working on that, talking about what that's gonna look like. And so that'll be a process. We've already started working and talking about what back to school is gonna look like for convocation and things like that. And so exciting to see things come to a close, but still a lot of work to do because we don't ever completely end. We just kind of switch gears, I think. So, but I'm really excited. I'm excited to see our kids graduate. I think it's been a great year and a lot of things to be proud of and to celebrate for sure. So.
Thank you, Josh. Item I, next board meeting. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education will take place on Tuesday, May 26, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the board meeting room at the Educational Support Center, 1205 Fleming Street, Garden City, Kansas. Move on to item J, executive session.
What do we need? 20? Mr. Vice President, I move we go into executive session for 20 minutes to discuss negotiations for the 2026-27 school year pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations under COMA beginning at 7:20. And the open meeting will resume in the board meeting room at 7:40 p.m. I would like to invite Josh Kyman, Drew Tone, Steve Norby to join us in executive session.
Second.
Been moved to second. All those in favor, raise your left hand. Raise right hand. Motion carries. Executive session. Okay, entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
so move a second to adjourn the meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your left hand. Opposed, right hand. Meeting carried, or